What is one fact you know that will make other people respond with "and why the F **************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************
Strippers have to pay to work at their clubs. Usually they have to also pay the house mom and DJ. Every private room they book, 20% to 30% goes to the house. A lot of dancers will also wear watches while working to make sure they're not spending too much time with one person if they're not getting paid properly, since they can't carry their phones around.
Men have a scar from their taint all the way to the head of the penis that is caused due to the closing of the vagina during development in the uterus.
The largest walnut grove in the world is located outside the small village of Arslanbab, in mountainous southern Kyrgyzstan. Local oral legend has it the grove was planted by a migrant wise man nicknamed Arslan the Wanderer. DNA analysis of the trees has confirmed they are not native to the region, and the local population came to the area from a related batch of seeds about 1,000 years ago.
Wombats naturally crap out cube-shaped poop. Scientists think it's so they can stack it to mark their territory without it rolling away.
MLB umpires are required to wear black underwear in case their pants split during a game.
Most cruise ships are equipped with a morgue to account for any passengers who died during the voyage.
Geese are immune to pepper spray. Spicy things in general expel capsaicin, which receptors on most mammals pick up on and send signals to the brain that something hot is touching us. Geese lack these receptors, and thus pepper spraying them will only enrage them.
Padlocks in Europe often have tighter keyways than American ones and required thinner pieces of metal to pick.
Male echidnas have a 4-headed penis.
It takes more than 6 standard concrete blocks to hold a human body underwater after death.
Don't buy rabbit already skinned and gutted. Could well be cat. They look really similar. If it's already skinned, you need to see the kidneys to tell they're installed in a different config. Second, don't make risky meat purchases from a Sunday market trailer in a shady part of town.
A corpse can have an erection. It is called angel lust or death erection.
This is something my bio teacher taught me last year. Basically, male barnacles have the longest penis to body ratio, and the penis actually extends out of the barnacle and goes searching around for female barnacles to have sex with.
Regarding the Museum of Mummies. Ferdinand I of Naples governed by oppression. He had zero compassion for his defeated enemies, and after falsely promising them amnesty, he had them murdered instead. After their murders, he would have them mummified and added to his Museum of Mummies dressed in their clothes. If he thought anyone was plotting against him, he'd simply take them on a casual tour of the museum, which was totally morbid, but effective.
The human body can literally expel feces out of your mouth instead of your ass.
It takes about 5 to 6 hours in a boiling lye bath to fully dissolve a body. Less if the pot you're using has a pressure cooker attachment. All you'll be left with is bone shadows, little undissolved bits of calcium that can be crushed, and a pinkish-grey slurry that can be neutralized with vinegar so it can be safely dumped. Edit: I learned about this from disposing of deer carcasses. After harvesting the usable meat, we take the offal and bones, pop the joints and chuck them in the pot. Let it go outside for a few hours, then discreetly dispose of the slurry.
Ireland's rail gauge is slightly wider than the international standard, yet its tram system uses the international standard.
In 2006, a Coca-Cola employers tried to sell secrets to Pepsi. Pepsi told Coca-Cola about it.
Open the guts of a body before disposing in water so they won't inflate and are able to sink all the way to the bottom.
Many species of sea cucumbers have evolved to have teeth in their anus to ward off potential inhabitants.
Human shit has a distinct smell, fats different from other commonly encountered poops.
Rock hyraxes are not rodents, but are closely related to elephants. They appear very similar to marmots, a rodent, due to convergent evolution by filling a similar ecological niche. I rattled this off at work one day and someone really asked me exactly the title of this post. Wikipedia is the answer. Before kale became a popular health food, the largest consumer of kale was Pizza Hut. They bought it to ring the salad bar.
Broccoli and cauliflower are man-made. It was carefully bred by Italian farmers more than 2,000 years ago, carefully breeding different types of wild cabbage to create it.
About 1 girl out of 100.000 will have the vaginal and anal tracts fused together, meaning that they can in fact get pregnant doing anal.
The longest recorded piece of poop is 26 feet long. A typical ejaculation consists of 1 calorie. Edit: if you swallow the semen, it will give you 1 calorie, you do not burn 1 calorie.
The most babies born to one woman is 69 in the 1700s.
Flatworms are dual-gendered and mate by fencing with their penises. The winner is the one that penetrates the other's skin first. Some species have 2 penises.
Sometimes, when horses are bored, they slap their dick to their underside to masturbate.
Anybody who has ever had to write a paper knows what 12-point font is. This point system relates to measurements for fonts, type, and certain design elements. 12 points go into 1 pica, and 6 pica go into 1 inch. While sizes vary from font to font even within the relative standardization of font sizes, if you need font that is about 1 inch tall, you want 72-point font, because 6 pica times 12 points is 72. For 2-inch font, 144, for 3-inch font 216, and so on. Edit: pica. Not pix, as my comment said originally, pica. Stupid autocorrect.
Instead of a penis, male sharks have 2 claspers. They're made of the same cartilage as the skeleton, and also attached to the pelvis. Edit: thanks for the gold. I can't believe my highest rated comment is about shark dicks.
Vibrators were the 5th domestic electrical device invented. Edit: saw it in a documentary called Original Sin Sex on Hotstar, if you wanna check it out.
Why is goose geese but moose is not meese? Well, I'm glad you asked. Goose has Germanic origins and thus follows the Germanic pluralization in the same manner as foot to feet, tooth to teeth, etc. However, the word moose was incorporated into the English language some 200 years later and has Native American origins. Yay.
Pigs with a prolapsed anus are at risk of being eaten by other pigs.
Rubbing alcohol is a great way to get the smell of smeared poop out of skin. Erections that last more than 4 hours are considered bad because the buildup of deoxygenated blood causes the dick to be disfigured and later cause gangrene.
Since frogs have long tongues, they can't use it to push food down their throat like humans do, so when they have food in their mouths they close their eyes and push the food down their throats with their eyeballs.
Japanese brothels often operate as restaurants, so you basically pay around $100 for some crackers and green tea, everything else is just voluntary service. After Alois Alzheimer gave the first ever speech describing the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, no one in the audience asked him any questions or made any follow-up comments, because they were all much more excited to hear the next guy on the list give a speech about compulsive masturbation.
Mammals from house cats to elephants take about the same time to urinate.
A bee's testicles explode when they mate. Edit: as many people are pointing this out. I will add that the explosion is loud enough it can be heard. Edit number 2, their dick is also blown off by the explosion and occasionally gets stuck in the queen. Courtesy of you, Gibbathy Mediocre. Edit number 3, grammar cause Reddit ain't fucking around.
Australian box jellyfish have 64 anuses.
Butterflies taste with their hind feet. Men who die by hanging sometimes come in the process.
When all humans are made, they start with the asshole.
Cats like the taste of your wax.
A human head is still alive for about 10 seconds after decapitation.
You know how fireflies use their lights to indicate they want to mate with each other? Well, the females sometimes bait the males into coming over using the mating pattern, just so they can eat them.
The Nazis bled Soviet children dry to provide blood transfusions for injured troops.
When the Pilgrims first landed in America, they found these weird dirt mounds in a field. so they dug them up and discovered they were Native American graves. Oops. They returned everything, but then came back later to take the cooking pots and utensils that had been buried with the corpses. They apparently packed really light on the way over and didn't bring basic household essentials, which would be really useful in, oh I don't know, starting a fucking colony.
Those tiny fake flowers in little glass vases at the gas station are less about the flowers and more about the glass, which can be used as a crack pipe.
It takes 2 to 3 days to cremate a body on a standard bonfire. Edit, so I've never had a comment get such an insane number of upvotes and replies before, not even close, wow. A lot of people are asking how I know this, so I figured I'd explain. I studied for a rather specific master's degree around psychological trauma. It was particularly pertinent to the Army, so within our small class were a few officers from the Army being sent to touch up their learning. One of them was an Army doctor who had been with them for more than 30 years. Can't remember exactly how the conversation got to this point, but he made some quip about having to burn a body, and it taking 2 or 3 days to burn on a bonfire. We asked him why he was burning a body, and his only response was, we weren't allowed to bury it. We never could convince him to elaborate further. It turned out that one of his deployments was to Rwanda as part of Operation Gabriel immediately after the genocide. If I had to guess, it might have been something to do with that. When dealing with more than 1 million dead bodies, many were likely never identified or claimed by next of kin, and perhaps for some reason this one couldn't be buried with the others. Again, this is purely speculation, so take it with a pinch of salt.
Gray whale couples need a third whale to act as a brace while they mate so they don't float apart midway through.
The slitting of the front of the throat is much more improbable than most people realize, given a bone is actually blocking the spot that most see in movies, TV shows. If, in fact, a movie wanted to be more realistic, they would instead have the sides of the throat slit because of the main artery that sits in that spot.
Costco has spent hundreds of millions developing factories just so they can continue to offer their hot dog and soda combo for $1.50 and their rotisserie chicken for $4.99.
Male moths can vibrate their testicles at will to throw off bats. Edit, oh wow, my first goal, thanks guys, did not expect this comment to get me one, but here I am.
You can hang yourself in 3 ways. Rope really short, suffocation, medium length rope, breakneck, really long rope, decapitation. Yep.
The reason why Egyptian mummies are so rare nowadays is because the Europeans ate them. They believed that eating a mummy would have medicinal benefits and the spirit of the person they consumed would watch over and protect them.
Consider subscribing.